Hello everyone, this is Beth with January Energies, and it's a whole new year. It's so exciting. I always get so excited at these changes. They're really exciting to me. These shifts that we can partake in if we choose to. You don't have to partake. You can just kind of roll on and do your own thing. But even though they're man-made constructs, you can still use them to shift your energy. You can still use them to the benefit of who you want to become, who you want to be in 2019. And we just passed a new moon with a solar eclipse. At the end of the month there is a full moon with a lunar eclipse. So we start this year off with a big old bang with eclipses, which I feel like gives us like this really nice setup. You have that first week of transition before we hit that first solar eclipse, and then you have a couple more weeks of working a different type of transition, a more inner transition. I feel like a more personal one, spiritual too, depending where you are headed through to the lunar eclipse towards the end of the month and the full moon. You have a couple of setups there, and you put them to work. I know we're already past the solar one at this point because I've been off for 2 weeks and I wasn't filming. Sorry. So this is going out the second week. This will typically go out the first week of the month, but you know, that's how life rolls sometimes. You just do what you got to do. So what's coming up with there is, other than the eclipses that are giving us this really kind of wild setup for our new year, there is a Chakras Connected webinar coming up on January 16th at 6 p.m. I hope to see you there. Get the invite down there. Sign up for it. Updates, weekly card refill, that kind of thing. That little link down there is the one you want to look at if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, it will not appear there. It'll be around. Other things that have happened, I am now under BethKBedberry.com for my website. It's finally there, and I'm so happy. It feels good. It's not all together yet, but whatever. I'm going to have to reconstruct my blog, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm okay with it. Just is what it is. Because I'm rural, and we have satellite internet, which is not working well with getting the blog uploaded onto the new site. And I'm just like, you know what? I can keep trying this and nothing's going to happen. Or I can just reconstruct it. And it looks like I'm going to have to reconstruct it. So it's going to be the old idea, you know, the new site too, is to streamline and slim down and get it under my own name, obviously. But you know, that was also the other thing. It was getting the site and the blog separate from classes too. So, but let's get into this reading. So look for the Chakra Connected though. It's on 16th, 6 p.m. Exciting. Very exciting. Unless it snows, then I'll just do a not so live webinar for you. Like I did in December for people. I'm like, oh, I just can't do it. And so I just did one day and made it not so live. Ooh, very nice. Ooh, it's water. Water for me has been like a huge thing. So I'm like, ooh, water. It's water in my life. It's water rolling in. So I have Earth Magic and the Holly Simple Tarot today. So Ocean is ebb and flow. It's kind of exciting to feel that coming in. Ocean, ebb and flow. So how are you finding, how are you feeling, how are you moving into, what's the word? I can't, obviously flowing because it's ebb and flow. How are you working with the energy of this year already? How is that showing up for you? Is it feeling tight and tense, or are you like, ooh, I'm going with it? Whoosh, whooshing, being like the ocean tide, being like the ocean flows. That are also impacted by the moon, and we have those by the moon, and the planetary, if I feel like there's so much potential as we enter into this new year. I know a lot of people had 2018 was an angsty year for a lot of people, me being one of them. It had its challenges. And I feel like this year, if we spend our January being like, okay, this 2018 challenges are pretty much done. There may be some things that carry over that are things you need to work on. I try not to say the word actually, because actually everyone says actually, and it's really annoying. But there's like this feel of what was 2018 was 2018, with, say, a few exceptions if you're working on changing patterns or behaviors within yourself that were triggered by 2018. You want to bring that work in, but the triggers, you want to be like, hey, 2018, you just keep this. I'm letting that crap go. I'm letting it go. I'm releasing it. Gone. Because 2019 is ready for you to step into it fully with this ocean ebb and flow. And by engaging in this flow and ebbing in a natural way of understanding your patterns of your creative process, things like that. I have long fallow periods on pieces. I will put them away for months, sometimes years, to come back to them and finish them. And that's okay, because that's part of my process. It doesn't mean that I'm not doing other work. I'm just not working on that piece for however long it takes me to get to a point where in my process where I know what the next step is. Sometimes it's hard to know what the next step is. And that's fine to know your process. That's a good thing to know how you work. So you can set up your 2019 because you know how you work. You can create the potential. You can see the potential. You make it come into being with this ocean and ebb and flow of knowing what your patterns are, how you work, how you want this year to look, what feels good, what looks good. And check in with that heart. Make sure you're feeling with the heart, feeling with the body, and not just the mind. Don't just think it. Know it with your whole being. Does this feel good? Is this working with my ocean of self, of my ebb and flow? How can I bring that in? That to me says you need to set it up how you want it to be. Is it going to change? Good chance it will. But that's part of the ebb and flow of knowing when to be like, this isn't quite working at the moment. How can I make this feel better? How can I make this feel more? Let's pull 2 cards. What we got here? Some pentacles and we got the Hanged Man. So we have the ebb and flow of our ocean, of setting up and understanding how our patterns behave so we can create the year we want. And the Hangman is often about getting rid of stuff. What don't you need? Sacrifice it. Whack. And I feel sometimes it's like when people work with blocks and they're like, I'm going to get rid of that block. I'm going to eradicate it. Really, you're just laughing off a bit of you. I feel like the Hangman often encourages people to try and lop off bits of them. And the other way to look at it is not what do you need to get rid of, but what type of perspective do you need to bring in? Because you have this ebb and flow. You're working on figuring out your pattern and checking in to make sure that pattern is currently the pattern you're using. Because if you're working on a pattern from 10 years ago that you haven't used or that you haven't reevaluated, you need to pay attention to that. And I feel like that's what this is. It's the perception. Because the tree's kind of sad. I'm afraid because someone's hanging on it. But the person doesn't look so sad, do they? How can you see things in different ways, in different manners? Bring in different views of perception. What's your perspective? How can you see it close up, far away, in between? If you think of something like a painting or a quilt, you often have to go, because they're not meant to be like, I'm looking at it very closely. They're not meant to be looked at super close and lose the pattern or the colors. Sometimes you have to take that step back so you can see the pattern, so you can see how the colors interact with each other, and if they're making sense, if they look good, feel good. When I'm painting, I often don't say what. Instead of saying things like, what don't I like? I say, what am I feeling with this? Okay, I'm feeling this, 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 and that. What am I not feeling? That area over there needs something. I try not to make it a perception of judgment. My perspective, my perception of it is not judgment. It's just, what am I feeling about this? What do I like? What don't I like? What do I feel needs to be worked on? What do I want to not? I want to kind of avoid. That's where you're looking at. How can you see things differently? Stand on your head. Look at it sideways. What happens if I turn it upside down? It's another thing you do in paint art too. If I flip it upside down, how does it look? I'll often take faces because there's a bias. I think it's a bias towards your predominant hand. And you tend to make that side of the face a little bit fuller. Or it's the other way. I can't ever remember which one it is. But if I turn it upside down, I can usually get rid of that too full side. Much easier than looking at it right side up. I change my perspective and how I view that face. And by turning it upside down, it stops being so much a face and becomes more of a shape. And really, when you want to draw realistic faces, you look more at shapes than you do like, I'm going to draw an eyebrow arch. Like, what's the shape of it? Okay, something's kind of triangular in this. I'm going to make a triangle. What's your perspective? How can you look at it in different manners? How can you use different viewpoints just within yourself? And if you need to, have someone else give you a viewpoint. Because it can be hard to find different perspectives and perceptions within yourself if you're not used to doing it. And people can help you do that. So if you need help, ask someone else. It's like, I'm having a hard time seeing this in a different way. How do you see it? And see where that takes you. Use them as something to leap off from to expand your perception. And even if you have a really good grasp of working that way, you may still want to bring someone else in to get a new take on it. It can be very interesting how other people perceive things as compared to you do. And then our other one is the Sun. Okay, let's make sure I'm reading this right. Sun of Pentacles. So I always love this third eye with the rainbow coming out. So we have our ebb and flow ocean of figuring out how we're flowing, how we're moving in this year. We're looking at different ways of perceiving information, doing things, anything that's coming towards us, anything we're working on, we want to work on. How can we perceive this in a different manner than we normally would? My nose itches. Someone must be thinking about me. Then we move into the Sun of Pentacles. I feel like this is all about our intuition, especially with that huge prism rainbow coming out of the third eye there. Being very open, expansive to the information that's coming to us, to moving and flowing. There's that flow again. I feel like flow, perception, and intuition are very tied together in January, of using our intuition, our third eye, how we perceive things, how we receive things, and how do we comprehend the things we receive via our intuition, via our third eye, and how do you want to process that? There's a very strong intuitive link, I feel, with the Sun of Pentacles in January. So pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to, if it feels like a sign, it's a sign. Don't doubt it. Don't be like, I found this really cool feather. I think it's a sign. Do you think it's a sign? It's a sign. Just decide it's a sign. I found it was a willow leaf. There are no willow trees near me. We have cottonwoods down by our creek. We have no willow trees. I'm trying to think. I think the closest willow trees are over like in Beaver Creek, which is not particularly easy to blow over here. Yeah, Beaver Creek, because even Mission Creek doesn't have willow. They have cottonwood and aspen. Yeah, I found a willow leaf in the yard where there's no willow trees around. Very. So I picked it up. It's a sign. Found a fossil. Flipped over a rock so the horses wouldn't hurt themselves. Fossil. Those are signs. Beautiful sunset, sunrise, clouds, whatever. Sign. Decide what your signs are and use them. What are the things that are like, hey, yeah, on the right path? What are those things that are telling you? What are you perceiving in new information? For things that are coming in that have been coming in, mystical. Also mystical, the word mystical is everywhere. Mystical, ritual, luminous, dream weaving, and water. 5 themes that are popping up. Hello, water. So look for those things. What are you seeing? And that's the things the Son of Pentacles is asking us to find. What are those things that are coming to you? For me, it's mystical, ritual, luminous, dream weaving, and water. The element of water, which is intuition, flow, and all this stuff. There's, like I said, this January feels like so much potential. So bring it in. Bring it in. And see where it takes you. And I totally did not get the affirmation cards. Okay. Popping them out. Okay. Totally got these. Let's go. Be quirky. Be yourself. Use your... Because this is really about how we work. This whole reading is how do we work? How do we flow? What are patterns? What are behaviors? How do we perceive things? How do we intuit things? And how you do it is not going to be how I do it. And that means be your own person. Be your own unique self when it comes to this. Use what works for you. Use your quirks. Be quirky. Be your quirky little self. And see where that takes you. Because trying to do it someone else's way and not having it work is really frustrating. But if you say, okay, that makes this part of that sounds really cool. I want to try that on. And make that part of your quirk. When you see things, try on what fits. Try on what sounds fun, interesting. Even if it ends up not working out, that's fine. That's how you develop your quirky. That's how you bring it back to your ebb and flow with your ocean of self. Of knowing where you're at and how you want to use that. And realizing that there's going to be times where you're like really going at it, and other times where things kind of recede back, and that's okay to have that surge forward and the flow back. We're looking at perceptions. I was trying to turn the hangman right side up. We're looking at perceptions, how you perceive things and how you see things. Do you need to stand on your head to see something differently? Then do so. Bring in someone else if you have to create new perceptions and look at things differently. Be really open. We have the Son of Pentacles to round things out with, using our intuition and bringing that fully in so we can understand what's going on, how we want to set things up, and get ourselves on the right, I want to say right path, but that's not really it, because there is no right path. It's just the path you're on. But head in the direction we want to go by using your unique self, by being yourself, and be quirky. Be yourself. See where that takes you. Let's do a little light language before we close out. Dolobatidishkata, kene halaskitro, kene yashini, poda adalatikana o shimbidet o onika, halapata tishiki kalm. Potara tigana eshino, potara osh. Kene kadape, podala ashikani ita na asin champo. Champo alikatin, hoden isho koleme, dali ko nish kana alikira hobegedani e. Hobekani I. Kota asikadapidere meme nalaitika shamade kanano mini alopom. Shini shoka apite. Shamakanamo. Perete kata alim kata paa. Katapin. Shamakani'i. Alrighty, everyone. I will be back next month with the next monthly reading. And yeah, I'll see you around. And go out there and be the love in the world. Have a wonderful, wonderful month.